When the divine masculine runner realizes you were all right all along. When there is a mental shift due to an awakening, the divine masculine begins to see beyond their defensive walls and recognize the deeper spiritual connection they share with their twin flame, a connection they have been avoiding and denying for so long. Then, they realize that the divine feminine has been right all along. This period is the period of awakening, and it doesn't occur once but gradually. What triggers this profound shift? Often, it's a complex combination of painful patterns and an overwhelming sense that something significant is missing from their lives. The runner starts to understand that running only worsens things as they postpone their own healing and spiritual development. Many divine masculine runners describe this realization as a moment of clarity that cuts through years of confusion and denial. Sometimes, loneliness and a lack of fulfillment in other relationships trigger this awakening. Other times, the divine masculine sees their divine feminine thriving and evolving without them. They feel empty and want to be part of this growth. When the divine masculine finally stops running, they begin to see their twin flame from an entirely different perspective. They recognize that the person they've been avoiding wasn't the problem, but their own fears, insecurities, and unresolved emotional baggage were the real obstacles. They appreciate that their partner has been patient, understanding, and consistently supportive even when they deserted the union. They also feel deep remorse for letting their partner down. The awakening also brings transformation. First, there are intense feelings of loss and emptiness. Then, there is a deep longing for the other partner. It also brings about spiritual transformation as the divine masculine runner soon begins to understand the reason for the divine union. They know the connection wasn't about winning or losing, or a battle of wills, but about mutual growth and healing. Their previous resistance and struggle give way. The runners now see it as a burden holding them back from experiencing true intimacy and connection. In their bodies, divine masculine runners may feel energy sensations in places like the hands, feet, or heart as they respond to awakening. Sleep patterns may also change, and they might experience increased sensitivity to energy. Some divine masculine also deeply feel their divine feminine chasers' emotions and thoughts, and their energetic connection strengthens despite physical separation. With reawakening comes the desire for reconciliation and reunion. Both parties must re-establish strong communication channels for these processes to be effective. This might happen through calls, messages, visiting one another, or even spontaneous encounters that seem orchestrated by the universe. During this phase, honest dialogue is critical. Both must be open to discussing their fears, mistakes, challenges, and hopes without judgment or defensiveness. They need to analyze the past not to assign blame, but to understand the lessons and patterns that led to separation. They need to forgive each other and be ready to move on, not just forgiving each other, but also forgiving themselves for the time lost and pain caused. The change doesn't manifest instantly. With time and consistent efforts, the divine masculine becomes more open, vulnerable, and willing to share their inner thoughts and feelings. We know that a fundamental shift has occurred when this state is achieved. The runner puts away the behavior of running and commits to standing firmly in the relationship, even when challenges arise. When the runner also realizes his faults, he becomes genuinely remorseful for all the troubles he has caused the chaser, the lost time, energy spent chasing, and emotional pain. When a runner apologizes, they don't just say sorry. The apology means something deeper. It's an acknowledgement of the pain they've caused and a commitment to change. They understand that true healing isn't linear and that both must first release old and bitter feelings of the past. So they seek true forgiveness, not as a quick fix, but as a foundation upon which true healing can be built. This apology often comes with actions demonstrating their commitment to change, consistent communication, emotional availability, and willingness to do the inner work necessary for growth. The most remarkable aspects of the awakening are the changes and growth that follow. Since the divine masculine runner has realized his faults, self-limiting mindsets, and wrong behaviors, he decides to change for the better without external pressure. This intrinsic motivation creates lasting transformation rather than temporary behavioral modifications. This awakening doesn't guarantee an immediate perfect relationship for both the runner and the chaser. It's a process of continuous learning, unlearning, and relearning. It requires hearts open to understanding and mutual respect. The divine masculine learns that true connection requires effort, vulnerability, and a genuine commitment to personal and mutual growth, and they embrace this new understanding with dedication. Both partners recognize that their union serves a purpose beyond their happiness, to heal ancestral wounds, break generational patterns, and potentially guide others on similar journeys. For the divine feminine who has been waiting and holding space, the moment of realization and return of the divine masculine runner brings a mix of emotions, relief, validation, and renewed hope. They realize that all the time spent waiting and hoping wasn't in vain, and that the spiritual connection they felt was real and worth waiting for. Once they see true change and commitment from the divine masculine runner, they readily accept him back, not from a place of desperation but from wisdom and recognition of authentic transformation. Together, they work toward reunion and purpose, bringing complementary energies that create something more significant than either could manifest alone. The twin flame journey of reconciliation after separation does not aim to prove that the divine masculine runner was wrong. Instead, it's a sacred time of realization, forgiveness, healing, and change. It's also a period where both learn mutual understanding and recognize their profound spiritual connection, so runners and chasers must utilize this period for growth. When the divine masculine reaches the point where he no longer resists the connection or runs from the depth of his emotions, something profound begins to unfold. This surrender isn't weakness, it's a decisive moment of awakening. It marks the beginning of true self-awareness, where he starts to look within, confront his fears, and unravel the layers of conditioning that once kept his heart guarded. In this process, personal growth blossoms. The runner begins to see beyond the illusions of control, pride, or fear of vulnerability. He opens up to the possibility that love isn't meant to be earned or chased. It's something that already exists, something sacred, something remembered. This marks his spiritual awakening, a turning point where he begins aligning with his higher self, recognizing the divine mirror the connection offers. Ultimately, the journey leads to the fulfillment of a divine purpose, not just reunion but transformation, a shift from ego to soul, from fear to love. When the divine masculine steps into this truth, his energy not only heals himself, it radiates outward to the divine feminine as well, bringing both into a state of union that is not just romantic but spiritual and cosmic in nature.